Hey guys, Walter here. Hope you had a very Merry Christmas. I wanted to put up my spoiler thoughts, my solo spoiler thoughts on Star Wars The Last Jedi. I got to see it a second time a few days ago, and I finally got to process all this stuff. I mean, this is not a movie that you could just see one time and totally understand everything that was going on in there, so I needed to at least see it one more time before I had a full opinion on it. So I have that full opinion, and overall I say I liked it better the second time for sure. I know a lot of people have been saying that, but for me, anyway, I liked it the first time around, but I did have a lot of reservations about how I felt about certain things. But seeing it the second time, knowing some of the things that were going into it, instead of trying to guess what's going to happen, made it a much more enjoyable experience for me. So there are smaller issues, but I still have two major problems with the movie. It's not perfect, and I think that we'll go into that first. So we'll go into the negatives first. The two things that I didn't like as much were the Canto Bight stuff. Still, I have a big problem with, and this is spoilers, okay? I still have a big problem with Luke's death. So let's get into the Canto Bight stuff first. Canto Bight is just a complete waste of time. It's just, seeing it the second time, it made it even more apparent. Cut it out and we lose absolutely nothing with a shorter and more focused movie. I like Rose and Finn, of course, from the last movie, but it would have been even more interesting to have Finn sell his injuries more from the last movie, and maybe have him like wake up in the middle of this one, then have a story with Phasma. I think that it really sucks that we didn't get her more in this movie, or in this franchise, because it's assumed that she's dead now, and that kind of sucks. But you know, you never know. I think she's dead, but you never know what JJ could do. You know, pull some movie magic and bring her back. But I thought that their fight, the Phasma and Finn's fight, was great. But more of a build between these two throughout would have been a great secondary story, I think. I think the Canto Bight stuff, if you either cut that out entirely or just replace it with Phasma versus Finn, I think that would have been great. I also wish Finn would have went through that sacrifice on Crate. I mean, I don't want Finn to die at all. I don't. I really like that character, and I want him around for the final installment, but that moment was so perfect, and I think that they kind of mucked it up by having Rose save him. Even the conversation they had after were like, I saved you. Like, she was so sarcastic about saving him. And I know the whole point is, you know, we're going to win this war by saving the things we love, not destroying the things we hate. I get it. I mean, I understand. But just that moment was so perfect for him to... I was like, oh, he's going to do it, but it's worth something. Like, this was the moment to do it. And they saved him. I like Finn having around, but they almost did too good of a job building up his death there. But that's just my thoughts on it. So the Canto Bight stuff, I just think is such a waste of time. Okay, the bigger issue I think I have with this, I was hoping maybe this would be a less powerful sting on me this second time I saw it, but it's just as bad, if not worse. Luke's death still bugs the crap out of me, man. We didn't get him at all in the first movie, and this was it? I want more Luke, okay? I want more Luke Skywalker. And not just from a nostalgic perspective. His arc here didn't feel complete to me. I mean, you know, those lines that he says to Kylo, the war is just beginning, and see you around, kid. Those were perfect setups for a bigger confrontation with Rey, Kylo, and Luke as a smaller third party in, you know, Episode 9. He better have a big role as a Force Ghost in Episode 9. I want more Luke, damn it. I want more. It was a beautiful moment when he faded away, though. I loved him looking at the twin suns, and we hear the Force theme, and him fading away. I mean, that was a great moment thematically, but just, man, I want more Luke. And I understand it's the other character stories, which we'll get into in a little while here, but I want more Luke Skywalker in this trilogy. And we'll see what happens in Episode 9. I'm sure he'll be back as a Force Ghost, but I want a substantial role. The Snoke stuff, it felt more like a minor thing this time around. I liked how he died the first time around, but I liked it this time even more, and he was great in what we saw. I believe Andy Serkis played the mocap on there and did the voice. I thought he was actually a pretty interesting character before he got killed off. But this guy was, you know, he was leading the new Empire, and he turned a Solo, or a Skywalker, that being Kylo Ren, and I would like more info on him, please. Like, I know that, you know, we didn't get that much backstory on the Emperor, but we kind of did. I mean, he had a lot of screen time in Return of the Jedi, and he was built up throughout the 3 movies. You know, they could still satisfy my curiosity and a lot of curious minds out there with sort of a nice flashback, I think, in Episode 9 with how Snoke turned Ben Solo. Maybe that could be a nice character-building scene, and we would still get some backstory on Snoke. I just want something with him. But how he died, I don't have a problem with. I think Kylo Ren being the main bad guy was great, and it was a great twist on things, and I thought it worked pretty well. The stuff with the ships chasing each other, and we'll go into more minor things I have an issue with here. The stuff with the ships chasing each other still feels odd to me. The whole movie, they were just sitting in the same spot. Also, it's kind of jarring that the First Order is just top dog now. I know they destroyed the Republic planets, but they just did that. They just did that in The Force Awakens. This takes place directly after that. Now the Resistance is in such dire straits that no one will even answer their call for help. I mean, come on. I would have been into their battles more if the roles were switched from the original trilogy, with the Republic being the standard and the First Order sort of gaining strength as this rogue terrorist group following the Empire's example. It just feels too similar that they're in the same positions as before, as the original trilogy, with the Empire and the Rebels, and now it's, the Rebels are only down to a few people now. This movie also makes Force Awakens a bit insignificant. I mentioned this in my spoiler-free review. Besides Han's death, there isn't a lot that carries much weight now that things have been changed so drastically, and I think that's a problem. Ryan is getting his own trilogy. Rian Johnson, the director and writer of The Last Jedi. Starting new with everything. That's great. But I think he tried a little too hard to kill the past in this movie. Of course, the new characters should lead these films, but if you're going to have the original leads in there, have them in there. Make them important and give them things to do that keep them at least semi-vital. It can be a slippery slope, but there is a balance you could hit between over-relying on them for nostalgia and just killing them off, just to make room for the new characters. I think that's also the result of not having a story outline for this trilogy when they started this whole thing. Some of the shifts feel just too jarring, and going back to JJ with Episode 9 could make the inconsistencies even worse. Now, there is stuff I loved in this movie. Absolutely loved. Some of my favorite Star Wars moments are in this film for sure. Everything with Rey and Kylo was fantastic. I love their relationship. I'm excited to see where it goes from here. The throne room battle was a roller coaster of emotion that had me 110% invested in all that was happening. Kylo and Rey going back to back to fight the guards is one of my favorite sequences in these films, period, as well as Kylo staying bad and trying to get Rey to join him. His lines that he says there, "You come from nothing, you're nothing, but not to me." Goosebumps from that line and the reaction from Rey. I thought that was great. I know lots of people, including Mark Hamill, have problems with Luke's portrayal in this movie, and I would have also liked to see a more optimistic, older Luke in there. But for what we got, the story that was presented, I thought it was handled very well. Hamill is amazing in this movie. He's maybe my favorite performance here. Every movement he made felt engaging. I couldn't take my eyes off him whenever he was on screen. His stuff with Rey was phenomenal, and Daisy Ridley gets to shine in those scenes too. His flashbacks to Kylo's turn were fantastic with the different points of view. I love that. My favorite moment in the movie is still the Force projection battle on Crate. I loved that. When it's shown that Luke was projecting himself from his island, I thought that was just an amazing twist. But I just was not a fan of what happened next, as you heard earlier. So there you have it. I think this movie is really good. It reaches highs that have rarely been seen in Star Wars, period. But I can't rank it as far up as I want because of the issues I have with it. And as I said, some of them aren't small issues. How is JJ going to wrap this up now? We have one movie left and a very split fan base. He won't be able to please both sides, so how will he go about constructing this third film? We'll see in 2 years, in 2019, how this series is going to wrap up. But overall, there's stuff that I really love in this movie, and there's stuff I really, really don't like in this movie. But together, putting those things together, I still think that the things I love outweighed the things that I hate. And yes, like I said before, I would have liked to see a more optimistic Luke. A different direction for that character would have probably been better, but for what we got, I thought it was very good. And I really love certain aspects of it. I'm really looking forward to where they go with Kylo and Rey in the next one. How they're going to handle Carrie Fisher's death with Leia. Now that all three leads from the original film are now dead in the actual stories, and that is pretty sad. But we'll see where they go in 2019. Thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't, go ahead and check out my top 5 best Star Wars original trilogy moments over on Channel Awesome. I have a special guest, Hello Greedo, from the Hello Greedo YouTube channel. He's a great Star Wars analyst, and I got him on the show for you guys. So if you want to check that out, please do. And I'll see you right back here with a video real soon. So I'll talk to you later, and may the Force be with you.